And we are live for at least a little while. How's it going,
Until it
lady?
gets boring.
I'm sorry?
Until it gets boring.
Until it gets boring?
Wait, Ruben.
Shalom, Ruben.
Walaikum shalom.
He was already invited. So yeah, maybe he'll come by. He's on my list.
I can't stay for long. I have friends coming over. It's Friday night, and we all sit around and smoke pot and socialize.
Well,
Wait, did someone say pot?
that's what I'm looking to do here. Hey, Cerberus, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. I'm ready to be hedonistic. I'm laying back here and I have grapes.
Oh, but nobody's feeding them to you?
Nah, I'm a terrible hedonist.
You want to see the cutest cat ever? He's so cute.
I need to turn my video quality up. Yeah, it's a nice looking cat. Before, this looked like a big orange blob to me.
Sorry, my cat is prettier.
Mine's a kitten. He kind of matches my hair. You know, you just wear him as a hat.
There you go. So how many friends you got coming over tonight?
Oh, with Joey's coming. My roommate Jesse's gonna be there. Alex might come. Jessica, maybe Melissa, Paige, her boyfriend Kevin, Corey, maybe. I don't know. Last time Corey came, he passed out on my floor bathroom. It's
Nice size, little party. Hang out.
not a party. It's Pick Up Friday, as Paige calls it, because we usually pick up weed on Friday,
Uh
and then we end up smoking half of it in one night.
huh.
You should put away the weed and try DMT.
What's that?
Um, well, I could say the full chemical name, but it's the same chemical that lets you dream. People
Wait,
distill it down from plants.
DMT, like the chemical that your brain releases when you die?
It does it then too. It's one of them, anyway.
I don't want to do anything hardcore like that
It's not
because
hardcore at all. This
yeah,
is dreaming. It's not dying. Dreaming's not hardcore.
well, I will ask my friend, my roommate. He can ask his dealer if he has any DMT.
Can you buy that legally?
Uh, you can buy certain forms of it legally. You can't buy straight up D&T legally. However, you can buy the plants that you can distill it from legally.
Uh-huh.
That all depends where you are. You guys are in silly America, and lots of things are legal there when it's not legal here in Canada. Silly, silly.
Oh.
Wait, what's legal in America and not legal in Canada?
Half of your pharmaceuticals that are legal in America don't pass the health authority here in Canada.
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. What?
Sorry, my fan was going. I said half of the pharmaceutical supplies that you get in America isn't legal in Canada because it doesn't like, pass our medical health board.
Oh, that's because in America you can get things that haven't gone through our FDA. So in Canada, all substances have to go through approval before you can actually go get them.
Yeah,
That seems rather time consuming to approve all those things.
yeah. Well, we're Canadians. We got time. We'll just do it in the wintertime.
I was about to say, I mean, a doctor can't prescribe things that isn't approved, but that doesn't stop you in America from going out and finding it anyway.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop Americans coming up to Canada and buying the prescriptions here because it's so much cheaper either.
Yeah, America's pay for the research instead of making Canada pay for the research.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
Oh, well, I say we turn it around and make you Canadians pay for the research.
All our money goes to the Queen already.
You're gonna
Once
make
he
me
dies,
anti-Canada.
Hudson Child will take over, and our money will go to him.
Steve and Wayne, two people I've never seen before.
Yeah, Steve's been he was in here past few hangouts, you know,
Um,
sporadically.
How's it going?
What's going on, man? Trying to get settled in here. I gotta go get me my beer. It's time for a beer. It's time for a party.
I took an Omega like 3 thing, women's vitamins, and now every time I burp, I taste fish. It's lovely. Cardboard oil, probably.
I'm just now reading the sidebar. What is it? Was Ruben put on a fill the room duty?
Oh yeah, nothing like a cold Heine. Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
you're a monster. You and your green bottle beer. What are you doing?
So you don't like my green bottle beer?
No. There's a
Why?
reason why we put beer in dark bottles.
Why is that? So you have to look at it?
Well, it has to do with sunlight and UV radiation. But
Oh. Figures. Sorry, I like my Heineken.
I didn't say it didn't taste good. I'm just saying it's sacrilege.
Oh, it's good. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jordan. What's up, Shana? How you doing?
Apparently, everyone's typing.
Everybody's typing. Yes, Ruben, we have, yes, trusteist. Hey, Cerberus, I didn't get a chance to see that interview. How'd it go with Sasha?
It didn't go too bad. I was kind of stumbling over my words because I wasn't feeling very good and I didn't really prepare for it. But I got all the information out that I was asked for.
Hmm. Did you reveal any secrets?
Nothing important.
I saw it went for like a good hour and a half, right? So you must have talked a lot about.
Yeah, it was about an hour and 15 minutes of talking, and then about 15 minutes of just kind of chatting about stuff.
Oh, yeah. Lindsay Lou left. I guess she went and a party started.
Oh, I didn't even notice it was the 13th until you sent out that invite.
Yep.
And nothing bad happened today to me, so woo.
Friday 13th is good luck.
Unless you're a Templar.
Ah, please explain.
Well, I mean, that's when the French king had the all the Templars killed.
Oh, it was on a Friday 13th?
That's what I've been told, anyway.
Hmm.
Because the French king didn't know how to use a credit card correctly.
Hmm. All of you, be quiet. You're making too much noise. Shut up, everybody. You're too rowdy. Must be a Friday 13th thing.
Let's say well, it's been a while since I've been in a hangout with you.
Yeah. Yeah, where have you been? You've abandoned me, Cerberus.
Just busy stuff, general life things. Yeah, the last time I was in here, we had that. I had that mind blowing session.
Yes, that was your six, it's 5 or 6 epiphanies you were having there. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Reuben says Cerberus is helping the Masons take over America again. Well, that's why I was gone. Yeah, that was why I was gone. I was out plotting. Really? From like the really early days, you're gonna reform that political party?
Oh, did Ruben say that? Yeah, Ruben, get on the mic. Come on. Come on, Ruben.
The amp party. Nice.
Wait. Was that him?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. Is that Solomon's Temple there you have there, Ruben?
Oh, she left.
I guess we bored her. I don't know.
She smiled at the camera and left.
Whatever. I must be back in a bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's what Baba Abba means?
Ba. I guess.
BRB works for me.
Yeah, right. BBL.
Nice. Lead speak.
Oh. Have you guys heard about the Boston Tickler?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
The Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been breaking into people's houses in Boston, but the only thing he's been doing is tickling them and then running away.
Are you serious?
100% serious.
The Boston Tickler.
That's what they've been calling him.
Oh God. Now that is weird. What? I don't get that.
Maybe he's just trying to spread happiness.
Uh,
Bomber, Strangler, Tickler. 1 out of 3.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you tried that. Oh, go ahead,
Damn.
John.
I'm sorry. No, I'm out in my screen and patio, and it's starting to rain again. God, it's been on and off for a day already.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, if you tried to do that to break into my house, he'd probably be shot before he got through the door. Yeah, I wouldn't assume he was coming in to tickle me, but
Well, sooner or later he's gonna come across someone that's not so ticklish.
I live in the middle of nowhere, so if I see you on my property, there is zero excuse for you to be on my property.
Is there anybody living near you?
Um, I think it's about a half a mile away.
A half a mile? Yeah. Shoot first, ask questions later.
No, no. See, I'm on neither side. I ask questions while I'm shooting.
Would you at least throw a warning shot up in the air?
I'd probably just yell at them to get away, or get off my lawn, or keep on moving down the road. But if it escalated from there, yeah, I'd probably shoot at them. I, ever since I've been alive, I essentially still live on my grandparents' farm, even though they're not around anymore. Uh, ever since I've been around, there's been people like messing around the farm, like breaking in, doing stuff, and so just rather not take the chance.
They just recently changed the law here in PA. I forgot what it was. I forgot the name of the law. But if someone came into your house, you would first you would have to been able to find a way, get away, try to avoid conflict. Now they changed it where you definitely have every right to shoot somebody who comes into your house.
Yeah, so they
That's
adopted the castle doctrine.
castle doctrine.
Yeah, your house is your castle, and
Okay.
it's essentially states you're allowed to use any force necessary to protect your property and not just your life.
Stand your ground. I think that's it. Lane has it in there. Yep.
But stand your ground is what they call it in Florida, and that is just outside the home. The castle doctrine just has to do with the home.
What's up, Prescott?
I guess I gotta unmute myself.
Yes, you have to say hello.
Hi.
Not yet.
Yeah, but I'm sure you're working on that.
I'm working on it. I got my Heineken, and I'll be getting the bowl going soon.
I
Friday night.
I listened to the Noahide Nexus last night. I got the chance to listen to the whole thing, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Well,
That good, huh?
It was a challenge.
Let me say one word. Rob.
Oh my goodness. Okay, no, I'm not going to go there.
We're live.
Well,
Hi, Rob.
I do know. I discovered that the microphone on my iPhone earbuds, when I use those to plug into my Mac Air, that it's using the mic on my earbuds for input. And I was trying to avoid hitting the mic on the computer to make sure that I wasn't causing any distortion, and not realizing that this thing was like all over my chest and clothes, and because I was like lying in bed when I was talking on the computer, and it was just making all this noise. And when I was listening to it, because I couldn't hear it last night during the hangout, but when I listened to it today, I was like cringing. I was like, how could anybody stand to listen to that? I mean, apart from having a hard time listening to me talk, but I mean, it was just so horrible. It was just
Those
anyway.
echoes that we were having, right?
Well, I wasn't there for the echoes. That happened before I arrived, and that was some pretty funny stuff.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was talking, and there's just like this constant slapback. So anyway. Anyway,
what had happened was James had a power outage, so probably messed up his whole settings on his computer. So once he reloaded, it was fine.
Yeah. I at least I understood after listening to the first probably 2 hours before I got there. When I listened to that, I understood completely. Like by the time I haven't got to the point of where James loses it, but I almost cried for him several times because I knew it was really a struggle, and I understood completely. So, and I am going to listen to the pre-Noahide Nexus Reuven. So I do have that downloaded, and I will listen to that.
Good.
All right.
What is the pre-Noahide Nexus?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I asked what was the pre-Noahide Nexus. I didn't see that.
Reuven opened up a Hangout, and basically anybody could come in, and I have no idea how many people were there, but it went on, I guess 7 hours. Yeah, it was nuts. Anyway, I was there for a couple hours before I laid down, and when I woke up, they were still at it, and I was driving, and was keep getting these notices on my phone that this stuff was still going on, and so you guys must have had a pretty good time. Anyway, that's all I have to say right now.
Okay.
I'm just going to kind of catch up on what you guys are talking about and try to blend in.
We're just chilling. Just to open up a room, just to chill, whatever.
Right.
You know, nothing in particular.
Yeah. Now, if I do this, it gets all noisy, doesn't it?
That, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. I now know.
Yeah, I felt bad for a little bit for Jane, and I didn't know, I didn't want to. It was, it was his room and everything, so I didn't want to, be too nosy or anything like that, but.
Yeah. I think that I think he was very conscious about trying to maintain his maintain self-control because of some previous episodes of him kind of losing it, and and he did a good job, but my goodness.
Yeah, you should have seen off air what happened. So.
Okay.
You should have been there off air. Yeah. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
We're live now. But yeah.
Hey, can you guys tell a difference in my microphone now?
Well, not really.
Not really.
Did you switch mics?
Yeah, I was getting tired of using a cheapo mics because it cuts out all my low end in my voice.
Makes you sound. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So which mic you on now?
It's another cheaper mic, but I was hoping it was better than the one I had before.
That's awesome.
Okay. The way it usually works is that to improve the sound quality, you probably will have to spend a little more money.
Well, I didn't spend more. I just had it sitting around.
Yeah.
You want to know which cheaper mic sounded better?
Yeah.
I wonder if I can just go into my settings and change the pitch.
Yeah, my favorite mics are the ones where I have to wiggle the wires to make them work. You know.
Or how about now? Can you tell?
No big difference. Then again, I'm on my laptop, so I don't have the greatest pair of speakers to really tell the difference.
These settings might not actually change the Google Hangout.
So I had Galaxy Dreams on earlier. Did a little interview with her, kind of spur of the moment. She did a video on oh my god, what was it again? Different denominations. So many denominations of Christianity, and
There's a few.
yeah, and going through I was going through some of the anger from in her deconversion stuff. So we talked a little bit about that since we shared a common experience. So I figured, yeah, let me see if she's up for chatting. So we did about not even a half an hour chat. Kind of informal interview thing.
How's it going, Matt?
Steve,
Hey Matt Hollis, what's going on, man?
nothing much. Just sitting here at work.
Okay. Don't take this as an insult because I actually mean it to be positive. You look like Pinchulette.
Pendulette, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There, you got it out.
You get $1 for every time you've heard that, Matt?
I get it all the fucking time. All the time.
Maybe if you didn't have his picture posted up by the mirror when you're getting ready in the morning.
Nice. It could be worse. I get Danny DeVito comments, so, count your blessings.
I'm hearing a lot of noise. But okay, that was Highwood. Are you as tall as him, Matt? His pen?
No, not even close. But he, I think he might be my estranged father or something.
After reading
Hey, does this sound better? Real quick, does my mic sound good?
Yeah, it was a little bit better.
It sounded all right to me.
Is it still a teapot whistle?
Yeah, a little bit in the background. It's like some kind of background noise.
Oh, I thought you might have been in the kitchen.
So I think you have an opportunity to play the best prank ever, which is to find Pinchulette, walk up to him, and go, "You're my father."
Oh.
I plan on it. If I ever meet him, I'm going to.
I am your son.
I'm going to say, Daddy? Daddy?
Daddy?
So he's a pretty energetic guy. I bet he would actually shit a brick right there.
Yeah, I'm actually a huge fan, so it's odd that I look so much like him. And then I decided to grow the goatee just to kind of make it a little worse.
About doing magic tricks.
Oh no, they're my favorite magicians. Magicians, yeah. But they always do tricks that you think you know what the trick is, and then they always just flip it around in some weird way.
Yeah. Do you ever listen to his podcast?
Um, I remember he had one that was out of his house I had listened to for a while, but I thought he stopped doing it.
Yeah. No, it's still going on. Sunday School. It's really good.
Oh no, that's a different one then. This one I watched wasn't
Oh,
Sunday
well,
School. This was something else.
no, yeah, he's got one that's called Penn Sunday School. Very good. Very funny. So, I enjoy the hell out of it.
Oh yeah, Reuven's got it. Pinpoint. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is let's see. I think I know the there it is. There's the website. It's pretty funny. It's random shit. And next week Dawkins will be on, so that'll be good.
The biologist I love to hate.
Yeah, that's true. Me too.
Like I
When
agree
it
with
comes
him
to biology,
factually.
but it's like,
I agree with him factually.
Yeah.
He's a prick.
yeah.
But he can't help it. You guys say these things about people like they can help the way they are.
You're
like
right.
they have the power and the choice to change.
The British, they have to be.
They've got billions of years of biology to contend with. Now, are you a libertarian, Matt?
I'm a strange mixture of libertarian and socialist somehow. It's, yeah. Don't try to figure that out. I haven't.
Sound like a Christian atheist?
You wanted a girlfriend, right?
No, I think we actually have something in common because I'm libertarian as long as we're talking about like interpersonal relationships. It's just when you start dealing with things that have more power than an individual, I think there should be a government.
More or less. Yeah, I'm in a lot of the same boat. But I have a major social conscience. I feel like personal actions should be very socially minded. I think that libertarianism leads people to be more socially conscious and to do things that look like socialism, but without a government controlling it. And so, in that way, I think libertarianism would lead to a more socially conscious, or at least it would for me, and I think it would for a lot of people. But there are those assholes that wouldn't be that way.
Well, but wouldn't the idea of being libertarian is that you get to choose that?
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the goal. My first dedication to a political ideal was socialism or communism, and I went into a
Libertarian is close to that.
Yes. I don't think so. No, I don't know. It's so confusing. I don't know. It evolved a lot, and then there are pieces I like from my old way of thinking, and then there are things I really dislike about the way I think now. So, or the way most people think that call themselves libertarians. So I'm so in the middle of everything. You really can't put your finger on it. So I don't try. I say fuck them all when it comes to the parties. I really dislike the parties.
And for that exact reason.
Yeah. I'll
Yes.
vote Libertarian before I'll vote Republican or Democrat for sure.
Someone posted on my Facebook a quote from Mark Twain. That's my political and religious affiliation.
Yeah.
Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect.
Yeah.
I mean, just good advice.
You know, I thought on a few occasions that Mark Twain should be thought of as a philosopher and not just a writer. He has lots of little advices like that.
He should have been the Messiah.
So Steve just got condemned to heck. Did you tell these guys about that already, Steve?
My Westboro Baptist Eternal Damnation badge.
Yeah.
Oh, literally to heck.
Yeah, it was actually a 2008, 2009. It wasn't too recent, but I decided I was going to print it out, frame it, and put it up on the wall. It was in a Twitter debate with some of them. In person would be so much more gratifying, but, you know, I'll take what I can get.
I was telling Steve when he invited me that about, I think it was maybe 3 years ago, Megan herself condemned me. So I was proud of that moment.
They're like Pokemon gym badges, you know, you just got to collect them all.
Yeah. I never have talked to Shirley, but maybe I won't die before I get an opportunity to get condemned by her. But I don't think she's in the church anymore, so.
How long were you in Westboro, Matt?
Never. Jesus.
Oh, I think you were in the church. Okay.
No.
Oh.
Just debating them on.
They just hand out random
Christ.
condemnations.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I've never been that crazy. Close.
I almost joked that you could debate her after you die, Matt, but, you know.
Maybe. We'll be in the same place, I assume.
Mark Twain said to go to heaven for the weather, go to hell for the company.
I love that.
Yeah.
Somebody else, I forget who it was, like all the interesting people are in hell. I forget what it was.
Oh, I would go there just to see Hitler with the pineapple.
Nice.
Kind of a big reference now, but never seen Little Nicky?
I was trying to place that.
Little Nicky. Okay.
Terrible movie.
Except
Oh, is that Lovitz acting like the devil's offspring? Or did I get the wrong one?
Adam Sandler.
Oh, Sandler. Okay. Yeah, he's Jewish. He could make that joke.
Yeah.
Little Nicky pineapple scene. Okay.
There's a couple of them.
Hitler's pineapple. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm going to have to mute this and play. We know what happened the last time I watched a video while we were in a hangout. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys weren't there. Heavy Holler made a Second Life video of his character, and it was very funny.
Well, I haven't looked at the news for like a week, and like shit has hit the fan, I guess. I didn't know the Taliban attacked two major cities.
Yeah, I didn't either. I don't watch the news myself, but
All
it
hell
turns out
there.
big surprise.
And Eric Cantor somehow lost his primary. No doubt to a crazier person.
Yep.
Yes, even crazier.
Pretty high bar, mind you.
Well, yeah, Eric Cantor's like probably like the third most powerful Republican in Congress. I guess until he lost the election.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with the news myself.
It's gonna be a fun election season, I think.
I saw something about thinking about going into Iraq again now, getting out of control over there again.
Well, eventually, the president will read my letter and understand that it's the best idea, which is we don't declare war. We go over there with a bunch of people and shovels, and we dig out the whole area, fill it in with water, and call it Lake America.
Okay, Ruben had a joke. I'm paying attention, Ruben. He said if you, a new Jewish joke, if you were stuck in the jungle, what would you do first?
Uh,
I'm not
Nice.
getting it. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
I don't think I'm Jewy enough to get that.
I was going to say it's because they're everywhere. Yeah. It's very funny, but I think you have the wrong crowd.
There are no Jews in Georgia.
It's Friday night. They shouldn't be out here now. This Sabbath.
Can a match box?
Nice.
Ba-dum-bum.
I actually get that. That one's funny to me.
let's see.
I should put up a $100 bounty if we can get Ruben to talk on the mic.
Wait, is that to the person that gets him to talk, or to Ruben if he talks?
The person that gets him to talk. That or we need a good text to speech plugin for Hangouts.
I got the pineapple reference. Funny.
Oh no.
He's gonna draw.
Now, half the time I'm working while this room's up, so I don't see the chat window. I have other apps in front of it, so it'd be cool to know if somebody was typing something in the chat room. peoples. Or not.
Alice, welcome back. Gordon left and Alice came in.
Where's Sasha at? He's been going crazy all day with videos.
Yeah, real quick, does my mic sound better?
Oh, you want it to be the cleanest. That's why you need Lysol.
I need Lysol. Something about Lysol. I'm hearing Lysol commercial.
Lysol
Hey,
toilet
is my mic working?
can
you hear me?
And it
Yeah,
also
it's working.
why just bleach? With Lysol, you can do
It's Matt. Matt, you got to mute.
and
That's
get
it.
back and
I'm
freshness
hearing
every
Lysol.
Lysol known as Max.
Thanks.
You camera.
Yeah, Sasha, you know, he's been trying to get in, but apparently someone's got him blocked. I don't know who it is.
So what's everyone up to? Any notable thoughts?
It'd be nice if at least told you who had you blocked. That'd be cool.
I'm sorry, Steve. What was that?
Apparently somebody was trying to join, but somebody has him blocked.
John.
Do I have him blocked?
I don't know.
No.
The last time we couldn't get someone in, it was you.
Yeah, I know. It was Neff.
So how
No,
many
but
people
I
are here?
never, I never kicked Sasha out. Yeah, 'cause that happened with Neff, yeah, when I kicked him out of a room a while ago and didn't know he was automatically on the block list. But I never, never kicked Sasha out. So somebody must have kicked him out to one of my rooms or something.
And what John is avoiding saying is that he now knows that he has Neff blocked, and he's not doing anything about it.
Yeah, well, I have, yeah, that's for sure. I have no reason to kick Sasha out. Sasha. I should go double check just in case, but I don't think I do.
So are you guys just getting started, or are we gonna? I'm not trying to rush, but I'm just wondering, are we gonna have like a discourse?
I think it's pretty freeform right now.
Yeah, freeform.
Is there anything anyone would want to talk about? Because I like to hear you guys.
Would anyone like to share a poem?
Well, I've written a good many poems in my time. I could share them.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, well, let me pull one up.
Oh, I had like a lyrical poem that I responded to someone with, and I can't remember what it is now. You go back and find it.
Alright, here's one of the, this is the second to last sort of poem I ever wrote. This one's, you know, I called it a proverb when I wrote it, though. I wrote two of them. This is my second one, you know. So basically it's more of just a kind of a saying or something that I came up with in a poem. So I call it a proverb.
Okay.
It is often taken for granted that one is responsible for one's own actions, and that one is responsible for the consequences of one's own actions. Logically following, one is responsible for all possible consequences of one's own actions. And one could say that one is responsible for all possible consequences of all possible actions one could take. But it is also apparent that one is responsible for all of one's causes. Seeing as one is inextricably tied to a causal chain of events leading up to one's existence and subsequent actions, one is, in a way, responsible for everything before it. In other words, one is responsible for anything necessarily related to it. And since one is inseparably related to everything, one is responsible for everything. One should be mindful at all times of all relationships possible. Bear the pain of others as you would your own. Our habit of apologizing for others' misfortunes that we haven't apparently caused is not in vain. We are inextricably tied to their pain. You are responsible for all suffering. One's sins are beyond listing and will always be unforgiven somewhere. However, this idea is extremely ideologically charged with moral polarities and should be disregarded. This kind of pessimistic analysis is basically meaningless and logically inconsistent if placed within any sensible context or order of actuality.
So you're saying that the effect has effect on the cause?
It was a bunch of bullshit.
I was about to say, I hope you didn't come in here expecting me to be all deep again, because that was tapped for a couple of weeks.
But yeah, basically the idea was like, when it comes to causes and stuff, it's like someone was talking about the quantum physics last night in the no height room, and like that's what quantum physics says, I think, right? That there's no time and it's just an illusion. It's just something that appears that way, but really everything's kind of just already decided. Right? Like, whatever happens is just happening, and it doesn't really happen chronologically. It just happens. We just view it as chronology. Like, does that make sense?
It has to be the noise in the background, but it's hard for me to follow you.
Yeah. Is the noise like really loud and shit?
It's about as loud as your voice.
I don't understand. Let me let's try this.
It sounds like when it's compressing the audio that it's artifacting. Is that the right word? Yeah.
I think so.
But that is what it kind of reminds me of when you put a lot of compression, like, or if you're compressing a file to say MP3 with a very low bit rate, that it ends up abusing a lot of the high end notes, and so you end up with all that kind of tinny ringy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Reuven. I love David Draymond. Basically, whatever band he wants to be in, I will listen to it. Oh, you don't like the one from Five Finger Death Punch? I forget his name, but he's pretty good. Oh, okay. See you later, Matt.
See you later, Matt.
Nice to meet you, Matt. Penn Jr.
Yeah, Reuven, I
Red.
like
Wasn't Red like? I haven't heard some Red in a while. Aren't they supposed to be like a Christian band, a Christian rock band? Yeah, they got good sound.
So Skillet, except for recently. Oh, a little less, I guess. Maybe not completely.
I went to it was a few years ago. Um, they have this festival that goes on every year called Creation. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it. They run in they run one in they run it one in the Northeast over here, and then I think they have another one that they're doing either in Washington or California. I'm not sure. But pretty much it's a Christian Woodstock without the sex and drugs.
So it's lame. That's what you're telling me.
Well, actually, I mean, when I went, it was pretty good. You know, set up a tent. You know, you're there about 3 nights. The band's playing all over the place, and they got different activities going on. They got one main stage, and there was a good 80,000 people were there. But I told to say, then I like the band. The lead singer left, which was a mistake. But Newsboys, I used to like the Newsboys, and they closed out the festival, and they put on a good show. I mean,
So, do you think I would get stoned by the crowd if I just marched in and started throwing Masonic symbols and talking about being enlightened?
what is that? Is that me? That can't be me.
You and that porn.
I don't know. I had a tab open, and all of a sudden, an ad was playing. I don't know.
Okay, for the couple older people than me in the room, do you guys remember this song, "House of the Rising Sun"?
Of course. I remember someone sang "Amazing Grace" to that melody.
To the House of the Rising Sun, they sing "Amazing Grace."
They sang "Amazing Grace." Yep.
Is that in the right tempo? Yeah. Anyway, Five Finger Death Punch redid it, and they did a really good job of it.
You said "Death Punch."
Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch.
Is that the video Reuven posted? Is that?
Might be.
Oh no, the Blind Boys of Alabama. Welcome back, Jordan.
Oh God, they did. Yeah, they're kind of torturing the lyrics to make it fit right, but Oh yeah, no, that's the original tempo for this song. Of course, Five Finger Death Punch, rocked it out a little bit.
This doesn't
Well, I never
work.
heard
I
the
don't know
Blind
what
Boys
will.
do it. I've heard someone else do it to the House of the Rising Sun. It was pretty good. I'm sorry.
Alright, is this better? Is the squealing gone?
Mostly,
Okay, it sounds better than it did last time.
yeah.
Same to me. I mean, I'm hearing background noise, but your voice is louder, so I can hear what you're saying. I could deal with it.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you were like in a old boiler room of like a ship somewhere.
What are you eating, Prescott? Sounds like you're popping open a bag of snacks or something.
No, that's not me. I might be rustling my mic or something like that, but oh, well, maybe it is me.
It's you. It's okay.
All right, I'll mute.
It's all right. No.
No, it's all right. Okay. I'm just sending a response to a wedding invitation. Another disappointed girl.
Are you gonna go?
Yeah, she wants to marry me, but I really don't think I should.
I wonder if how do they do weddings up there in Canada? I wonder if they do them any different than in America, or it's pretty much the same.
Twice the maple syrup.
Yeah, the only difference is that we add maple syrup to the beer.
There's a lot more of a bouts, or a boots, I mean.
So anybody think of anything novel today?
I don't. Not really.
I mean, would it be? Is it okay if I try to start a conversation?
Please do.
Alright, cool. Well, you guys seem pretty interested in the whole God thing. I assume you're an atheist, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I'm an agnostic.
Okay. When we usually say agnostic, we mean either agnostic theist or agnostic atheist. Would you
Yeah,
say that?
I try not to believe unless I have to.
I was going to say you could be both.
Okay.
Did I kill the conversation?
Oh no, man! I just had to respond to someone real quick on the Facebook. So you say you don't want to believe unless you have to. So would you say that you just don't really care if there's a God or not?
Oh no, I actually kind of do. I have thought about it quite a bit, and I've come to the conclusion that any answer you have would be an illogical answer. That doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't an answer. That's why I say I'm agnostic. 'Cause any answer I can come up with one way or the other seems illogical to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, you know, and it's not that I don't care if there's a God or not. You know, I totally do care. I mean, who doesn't? But what has caring about that ever got me in terms of truth or knowledge or whatever the fuck I'm after? You know, it just never got me.
Well, you could always manipulate the belief to get things that you wanted. That wouldn't necessarily be a good thing to do, but
What I mean by what I want is I want truth, I want understanding, and I want peace, and all those kind of things. You know, I want to be in nirvana and all that shit, enlightened, all that. You know, that's why, if I believe in God or if I don't, you know, for me personally, that's why I always even concern myself with that idea. It's just because I wanted to know.
well, I can give you truth. I give you truth all day long. We can start with the basic. Saying you're alive is an assumption. You might not actually be alive, and I don't just mean like your brain's a vat in a jar. Like you may just be a figment of someone else's imagination, just not realize it. So then, therefore, everything else that you experience beyond that's also an assumption.
Oh yeah, it's true.
You don't have a gun nearby, correct?
Uh, they're not too far away from me.
No, not you, Cerberus. I mean, you're depressing. If I was asking this question about existence and meaning and all that, and somebody said what you just said to him, like if I had a gun nearby, I'd just like, what's the point?
Well, I mean,
What
I can
is
give
it
you.
that he said exactly?
What's that?
Wondering what is it exactly, you know, that he said.
Oh, essentially that everything you could ever find out or know is an assumption.
It's hopeless.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
That's it.
I mean, I don't think it's depressing. I think it's maybe awe-inspiring. But I'm kind of a wacky guy.
It's
Yeah,
a wake-up call.
that one didn't occur to me, I guess.
You know, nobody likes when the alarm goes off in the morning. It means you gotta wake up, but you gotta hear it.
Oh, there's Adam, my arch nemesis.
Hey everybody,
What's up, Adam? How you doing?
doing pretty good. How are you doing?
All right.
How's everything going?
Getting there.
We're trying to force a deep conversation.
Yeah. We're all getting high. We're drunk.
We're getting arch nemesis now? That's awesome.
This is Adam.
I just want to say one thing. I get the red cape. You can have the black cape.
You shouldn't have capes at all. Have you not learned?
You're getting away.
Wait, what's wrong with a cape? I love capes.
You're getting away.
They get in their way. You get sucked up into flames. You get trip over them.
Well, you could make them fireproof. I just say resistant, but yeah. And then when you fly, they flatter around. It's cool.
Capes work for Spawn. They work for me.
Exactly. Although if I have the red cape, that would make Adam Bizarro Cerberus.
I don't accept you as an opponent, Cerberus.
Oh, that's fine. You got one.
I need someone a little more worthy of being a nemesis.
Oh,
Ooh, ouch.
the glove came off on that one.
Ooh.
Then he put a brick in it, and then he hit me with it.
Man, it got cold in here. I need a jacket now.
Wow.
Oh.
See, every time anyone's, in history, like, the existentialists, mostly just when Socrates was going around, when Jesus was going around, people were saying, that I just don't want to hear that shit. It makes me depressed. Yeah, that. And of course, this is not a slur on the fellow who said that it was depressing, because obviously you can see the logic in why it would seem depressing, cynical, everything like that. But if it is how it is, if it's the truth, then for one, it doesn't matter if it's depressing or not. For one, because that's what Nietzsche said. He said we let our vanities. Well, that's Ecclesiastes. But we let our desires tell us what to think. He points out how Descartes, how Spinoza, how Plato, all motivated by their desires and came up with these theories to support what they want to believe. And regardless of whether that's true or not, it is a problem with how we think. And we do let our desires motivate us, and we give up a little bit too easy in the search for truth. So we just have to be serious about it. But at the end of the day, it's not depressing. If it is how it is, and it's just how it is, whether you're depressed about it or whether you're liberated by it, that is your choice. And the central choice is: do you want to give up your desires and see and understand how they're not getting you anywhere, they're not getting you anything, how the horizon moves with you. When you chase after the sun, the horizon moves with you. You're never any closer to it. No matter how beautiful that sunset is, you can never get there, or you can never keep it there, and etc. So, or you can just say, well, it's all hopeless. The universe doesn't love me, and poor me, and I'm all fucked. That's the other choice. When you see that there is no hope, there's no meaning, and the universe doesn't love you, there is no God, nothing like that. You have that choice. Is it going to free you, or is it going to give you another prison to live in?
I know. I have a slightly different outlook. I considered the fulfillment of wants to be the warmth of life, and the fulfillment of needs to be the cold, trudging on of survival.
In Indian religion, we have what we call karma. Karma, is often misinterpreted as a law or a system of punishment or anything like that, but it's none of those things. Karma is balance. It's what comes around goes around. It's not to punish you. It's not to reward you. But Jesus said, "You reap what you sow."
Yep.
And so it's the same no matter where you look, east or west. But anyway, karma is a fact of life, and there's no getting around it. It's called samsara, the world we live in of needs and wants, and survival, and everything like that. It's necessary, and it's wonderful. It's fucking beautiful, but you got to see it, and seeing it isn't going to hurt you. Seeing it isn't going to make you give up on your life. Your wants and your desires never go away. But you got to see them for what they are, or else they're going to get you in a whole lot of trouble. Because when you can lie to yourself, then you're a danger to yourself. And that defeats the whole purpose of survival. That's what gets people killed, is lying to themselves. And people die every day because they trust someone, or they think someone cares about them, or they think God will just look out for them, and they die because of that trust. So if the universe isn't a warm and fuzzy place or nothing like that, you don't got to be depressed about it. But it can easily be seen as depressing. That's for sure. Nobody's happy all the time. I get fucking sad. I get really fucking sad just because of that fact that the universe doesn't care for me. I can't trust nobody. Nobody fucking loves me. And yeah, it makes you feel sad. It makes you feel like pitying yourself. But that feeling goes away. That's just the shock of you've been living a lie your whole life. We all have that in common.
Well, you gotta come around to the point where you realize that you don't get those things unless you deserve it. And if you just go around assuming that you deserve it, you probably won't end up with much of it.
You mean deserve truth or
Oh,
deserve peace?
anything really, but
Deserve what you want?
you said love and wants and things like that.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's all the same thing. Uh, but I mean, nobody deserves it. It's just not how it works. It rains on the good and it rains on the wicked alike. The Bible says that too. And that's always been a problem for Christianity, and they have to try to explain it. They have to try to say, yeah, it rains on the good and the wicked alike, but it's all for the good, and God is looking out for you and all this shit. And it's because it's depressing that they have to make apologetics about it and make it out to be like, God is so concerned about you and your daily life and your tests, and God hears your prayers, everything like that. And I'm not saying it's not true. It could very well be true and everything like that, but it ain't helping you to go on thinking that way. There's a difference between believing something and it being true. And just because something is true doesn't mean you should or ever will believe in it. Belief is a defense mechanism that evolution created, or you can say God created it if you're inclined to do that. It's just as true. Belief is not something to be taken as seriously as it takes itself. You can never have that one true belief that encompasses everything. You can never have the worldview. It just not exists. That's never going to happen because someone can always say something different. And someone can always say how you didn't go far enough, or something like that. I mean, there's been some great philosophies throughout the ages, some really, really fucking amazing thoughts produced by people just like you. And still, you can look through any of those philosophies, and you can add, and you can take away, and you can accept, and you can deny. It's all based on what you want. The problem is seeing that. That's the hard part, is seeing what is truly motivating you to accept or to deny. The important part isn't what they're saying. It's why they're saying it, and why are you reading it, and why are you even taking them seriously enough to listen to them to ask if it's true or not. So these are the questions. I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. Personally, I tend to listen because I don't have anything else better to do at the time.
Genuinely, that's, I think, the only real way to look into philosophy is just as an entertainment. And you can do it as an entertainment and trick yourself into thinking it's something more, or you can do it as an entertainment honestly and say, well, this person doesn't have the truth for me, and even if they do, they can't tell me it. Just like in Plato and the Phaedrus. I'm sure, anyone who's read The Feeders knows my reference there. So it's, you have that choice. You always have that choice on, being honest with yourself or lying to yourself. That's the dilemma. You know, people, we ask ethical questions about lying to another person, but is it even an ethical issue when it comes to lying to yourself? Because we do it. Now, is the problem with that ethical, or is the problem with that medical, in a sense? Is the problem with that in terms of danger? You know, not only utility, but life and death. It's fucking serious. That's my take on it. It's real fucking serious. And, and trusting in a belief or in a feeling or in just hoping that it is how you want it to be, it's going to get you hurt. I say it just because I genuinely care. A lot of people will say that they come in here and try to tell you some shit because they care about you. But, I ain't going to overstress it. I don't care about you that fucking much. But I do care.
That hurts. You don't care about me that much?
Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. He didn't say, put your neighbor before you. He didn't say, love your neighbor, but hold things back from your enemy. Because Jesus saw, no matter who he was historically or if he existed or not, in that fucking story, Jesus saw that, we are all children of God. We all have that breath of life in us that God breathed into Adam, and we all share that. And we're all human. We're a family. It comes down to it at the end of the day, we're all each other's God. I mean, that's a fucking fact, and I don't give a fuck what anyone says. There ain't no fucking nobody else gonna come in and help us. If we don't care about each other and take care of each other and make sure that our kids have a fucking future, then nobody else is gonna do that for us. We could all fucking die, for any number of reasons. And there could be another big war, or there could be anything just because people will not fucking stop. And if nobody takes the first step and stops, nobody else can feel safe stopping themselves. Because we do this to protect ourselves. So for you to really let me in, you have to really see that I am not a threat to you, that I won't judge you, that I do love you. And if you don't see that for yourself, there's no way you can ever, ever trust me. It's not possible. You'd have to be a fool.
I mean, being a fool isn't necessarily a bad thing in that case.
There's a certain blessing for the fool. Jesus went into that, saying the meek will inherit the earth. That whole fucking diatribe was talking about the virtues of weakness. And yeah, God has a way of taking care of fools. That's for sure. But God has a way of punishing fools too. And it comes in equal measures and thermodynamics, equal and opposite reaction. It's there's a blessed fool and there's a cursed fool. Very, very, very different. And really, that's all you can be is a fool. You can be a blessed fool, and that's the only hope we got.
But that sounds more like a God's problem than really my problem.
Well, it is. I'm just saying. You can't choose who it is. It is a matter, like Calvinism, fate, and shit like that. I mean, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you can never choose your destiny. We have the appearance of making choices and all that shit. Sure, we make choices and we can assure things for ourselves, but you can't change who you are. There's no way to force that. If you're going to change, it really does have to be through a kind of divine providence, just through the workings of fate. If fate works in your favor, you might get your enlightenment, but it's not attainable. It's something that has to happen to you, and there's no way to ever force it.
I don't know about that. I would, I would definitely say you can work at it,
Now, you can try.
and I think you can change yourself, but only if you actually want to change yourself.
I mean, it's all good hope and everything like that, but I mean, you're gonna believe what you want to believe, no matter what anyone says. At that point, there's nothing anyone can say. But no, there ain't no way to help yourself. You can't save yourself. It's just not possible. You are the problem. And you can't take away the problem when the problem is where the solution is coming from. Understand? That's not possible.
Well, then how did I become the problem, supposedly?
It's not that you are a problem. You're just not letting yourself be happy. We're all in the same boat here.
I'm actually reasonably happy.
Well, good on you, man. I don't know you that well. But, I just have to assume certain things about people. And you could be the exception. I'm not going to say you're not, but I don't find it very likely.
Well, I would say it's an exception to not be happy. I mean, even if you're in a bad situation, people have a tendency to lie to themselves about it to be happy. So
True happiness can't be based on lies. True happiness
well,
has to be
what's it matter?
Understanding. It doesn't really
Well, what's it matter to the person, though?
It doesn't have to matter. It's just a choice. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be miserable?
Well, it's not always a choice, but it ultimately doesn't matter to the person.
We learned that from Paul. When he's locked in that prison, in whatever book it was, he's still rejoicing and shit like that. You know, we learned it from Job. When God took everything from him, he let Satan take everything from him to put him to a test. Job didn't curse God. You know, he made that choice, and he easily could have. He easily could have cursed God.
Sharpest tool in the shed.
What?
Nobody said Job was the sharpest tool in the shed.
You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because what the story was trying to get across is that you can have that faith. You can have that understanding where no matter what bad thing happens to you, you always have that choice. Always. That's the whole idea of free will and that whole monotheism. The idea of free will is that you don't have to just be a blind mechanism of reaction. You can be so calm and you can be so at peace that no matter what happens, good or bad, you are not shaken. That your faith stays strong.
And that's the kind of things that leads to terrible, terrible outcomes sometimes.
Amen.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you're not nervous about doing something so horrific, then you're more likely to do it. If you have the strength of faith to do something terrible, then you have the ability to do something terrible.
What is this terrible thing?
I don't know. Name a terrible thing. Any of them would work.
I kind of lost you. Where the terrible things you're talking about. What I was talking about is just being strong enough to see past your own vanity, you know, and it shouldn't be an insult to anyone for me to reach out and tell you that I understand, you know, that I'm the same as you, that I fucking hurt, and I lie, and I am not like some enlightened being, I don't know the truth. I'm fucking confused and I'm in a lot of pain, and but I can't put it on God now. It's my choice. I have that power. I have that free will. I can choose if I'm gonna be happy or if I'm gonna be miserable. And those are the only two choices. You can't be no in between. You're either gonna be happy or you're gonna be miserable.
I mean, that would depend on how you define in between. I would say lots of times I'm in between. I am definitely partially happy sometimes.
It's just bearable. It's not. Sometimes it hurts less than others.
Well, I wouldn't even really say hurts. I mean, I would. I mean, I could quantify it in numbers in a scale.
Shades of gray.
You hurt though, right? You suffer. You never cry.
Not for a while.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Okay. But I don't know if it's a good thing necessarily to not put responsibility where it's supposed to be. If you have someone like God doing things, then surely he's responsible for what he's doing.
Well, whatever you do, you gotta be responsible.
Yeah. That includes him, though.
That would include God in that.
God is responsible.
Yeah, I would say he is. A lot of people don't think so, but
If anyone understands responsibility, it's God.
I'm going to say not really. For the one specific example that you gave, where he let Satan take away everything to see if he would still believe in God or not curse God. That's not really a responsible action.
You think God is wrong for that?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that was not justified.
Well, as a child of God, you have the right to question God.
Well, good then. I question him all the time.
Why does it have
I
to be
do too,
Job's
man.
God?
Sometimes I don't bother questioning. Sometimes I just curse him.
Why does it have to be Job's God?
Well, it doesn't have to be. I was just using Job as an example.
I don't know. I'd be pretty mad if I was Lot's wife when she turned around to look behind her.
Wait, you'd
But
be
can
mad to
you?
be Lot's wife, or you'd be mad to be Lot?
Either. She wouldn't be mad for very long, apparently. But,
He
yeah.
told him, man. He told him, don't look back. What did she do? He told him to. She made her choice.
There's a difference between saying "don't look back" or "don't look back and you shall die." Those are two different scenarios, and neither one is actually moral
Well,
either
God
way.
has to learn, doesn't he? Because he told Adam and Eve, you will fucking surely die. What do they do?
900 years later, sure.
How do they know what death was?
They knew.
There's nothing moral about any of the Old Testament.
Yeah, that I don't really know what the point is.
Is moral the high point that you want to get, though? Like, is that really what you want? You want to find out what's moral and what's not? Because it ain't that deep.
If your theology claims God is all loving, and then you cite the old Bible as an example of that God, then there's a contradiction. If you claim God is Loki or Ares, the god of war, then the Old Testament fits in quite nicely. So the problem is the claim that theology makes about God, and then the example they show in the Holy Book. You know, I don't care which one he is or isn't according to theology. It makes no difference to me. I just don't like the contradiction. God's this loving person, but he'll flood the entire planet except for a family. That's just ridiculous. Genocide in the other story is condemned universally, but somehow with God, it's all right. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, largely, it's surely God could at least be as good as we are.
I mean, the problem is loving person. You said that. God is a loving person. And that's how we tend to think about God. It's just, sort of a person like us. But yet, you think that if that God is in any sense real, it is nothing at all like us. The only
Why
thing
not?
that we have in common with is because we're in the image of God. We are not.
Why?
We will never be God. If you're not God, you can't understand God. Now, it's
Why
not that
can't?
God isn't loving, but it's not that God is unloving. But to say that if God truly loves you, then that you should be put before Him, His Word, and God is not fucking around. He's not just telling you advice. God gives you fucking commands, and He says there will be punishment if you do not obey these commands. It doesn't matter if it's a kind of punishment out of revenge. What matters is you're gonna get some bad consequences. And I'm telling you right off the bat, that's what He's doing. And I'm telling you right off the bat, if you do not obey me on this, you are gonna get hurt. And that's just this is God being realistic. God ain't gonna lie to you.
You lose justice in the problem there, because the consequence doesn't fit the crime. Hey son, if you eat that brownie, I'm going to skin you alive, set you on fire for eternity? Yeah, seriously? Consequence doesn't fit the crime. That's not justice. That's asinine.
God doesn't send you to hell. You can't enter heaven if you got sin.
Who sends you to hell?
That's the way it is. Nobody sends you. You go there.
Anybody that voluntarily.
And don't take it too literally. I know Christian.
No, I'm just saying.
I ain't saying that you're going to hell. I don't believe in none of that shit. You can trust in that.
The theology says
God doesn't send you to hell. You go there because you're a sinner. We all are. If I died right now and that theology is true, I'm going to fucking hell, buddy, because I'm a fucking sinner. I don't belong in heaven.
No, really, you go there because He sets up a system that gives you sin and then doesn't let you in.
You don't go there by choice. He sends you there by setting up the system for you to fail. That is not choice. It's the mafia boss saying, hey, you can pay my tax or I'll set your business and kill your family off. That's ridiculous. To say that we choose to go to hell. Nobody chooses to go to hell. Even if we knew it was real, we wouldn't choose to go there. We'd refuse. That's just horrible.
Yeah, he's essentially the highwayman of the spiritual world.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to go to hell, but you don't want to change. You don't want to.
Don't take this as judgment. Have to change.
Don't take this as judgment for me to.
No, I don't.
Judgment. If anyone understands, I do. I'm with you. 100%. But you got to ask yourself: Is it really that he's a highwayman? Is he really sticking you up on the side of the road and robbing, saying, "Well, you better do what I say, or I'm gonna hurt you"? I know that's how I said it, but is that really how it is? Is God holding you for ransom, or is He trying to help? Because if we take that theology serious, you gotta take also for serious that God sent Jesus, His only fucking Son, to fucking die for you and for me and everyone else. That's part of it too. God does that. Why would God do that? Why would God do that if He did not give a fuck? If it was setting you up to fail,
God's giant red herring.
If it was all just a trick, if it was all just a big trick, why would God do that?
He didn't die.
It's just part of the story. It's just part of the story. Nobody said it really happened.
He had a long nap.
It's God's giant red herring, though. He sets up a system to force us into this, and then He gives us this bullshit reason. Why we're fixed now. You understand? Like, He makes a game, and then makes the end of the game he does the whole thing. It's all things that he made up.
Yeah, but does God not love you? Like, is that really safe to say? And you got to understand, if that's not true, if God does love you, how much does it hurt God for you to say that He doesn't love you and He just sets you up and everything like that, and it's His fault, shit like that? Well, God could very well be trying to save your ass.
He can say he loves you all he wants. It's actions that speak louder than words.
Yeah, it is. And He's
based on the
fucking
Bible,
son for you.
the actions
God proved
speak.
it.
That's like the
That's why
abusive
he was so
husband beating
serious.
the wife.
Fucking
I love
proves
you,
it.
honey. I love you as I'm beating
We
you.
don't have to trust in God.
Good. It's ridiculous.
We don't have to trust in God that He loves us. He damn will show it. Sent Jesus to die for us, and I guarantee you,
Wow.
for God to send an innocent sacrifice like that, it probably hurt a lot.
Yeah, but we're saying he's not innocent, so I guess it wouldn't.
That's got to be taken for granted, though. Jesus was innocent. Jesus was without sin.
Are you
So
sure?
why would you kill the innocent person if you claim to be just?
Because it's not about justice, it's about balance. Because innocence is what was sacrificed. So innocence has to be sacrificed to gain back the benefits of being kicked out.
That goes back to
That's why He does it.
cults of
That's what saves you.
Middle East. That's got nothing to do with anything other than barbaric, quasi Bronze Age tribalism. I mean that, blood sacrifice, blood atonement. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's not just it didn't come from nowhere. The idea of blood sacrifice and loss of
Have you
innocence.
studied the anthropology?
It didn't come from nowhere. Yeah, I have studied it.
It actually did kind of come out of thin air.
Books we read then.
It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, no, that's where ideas come from, essentially, is thin air.
I don't understand how you say that.
Because there isn't anything on the earth that humans think about that isn't made by a human's mind first.
I mean, if we caught Hitler before he died, and I decided it's all right, we'll just go ahead and execute my son in place of Hitler as an atonement, as an innocent sacrifice, who on the planet would have been happy with that? Or Saddam Hussein or whatever. This whole idea of vicarious redemption is completely flawed, and it's a horrible idea, and it absolves actual justice.
Well, I mean, in his terms, you want to say responsibility. It absolves responsibility.
I always don't feel uncomfortable. He didn't leave, did he?
No.
Oh. No, I was just joking with you, Alice, because you were sounding so much like a Christian, and you were like, I was just joking with you, playing the Christian troll.
Well, I understand. Yeah. I take the Bible very seriously. It's the biggest thing that I refer to the most. But I ain't no Christian. I ain't no dummy, basically. I don't believe in that shit. So, that idea.
How serious do you take the Bible then? I don't understand.
I think it's 100% true. 100%.
But then how could you say you're like neither a Christian or?
Because I don't view it as the same thing. It's just, there's the book, and then there's the people who claim that they have the infallible truth about that book, and they have the monopoly on meaning about that book. To me, that's not fair. Why should anyone have to tell me what it means? I can read it for myself.
Okay, but you realize almost everyone else would still call you a Christian anyway.
I would never call myself a Christian.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to call yourself one. My belief in what you are does not require you to agree with me.
I like that.
In a very strict and limited sense, I am a Christian. I believe the Bible is true. but I do not believe that Jesus was an actual person who came down from heaven and did all kind of spooky shit. It wouldn't surprise me. All that stuff would just be evidence of psychic power. That's not a big surprise for me. I think that's totally reasonable. I've never seen nothing that would indicate to me that's possible. But, well, yeah, actually I have a few things, but nothing that I never seen nobody raised from the dead or anything like that. Let's just say that. So I see no reason.
There's a little confusion though. I mean, I'm hearing you saying the Bible is true, but you're not taking it literal. So what do you mean by the Bible being true? Do you take it literally? Do you take some things literal? Do you take others as
I
metaphor?
think I think that it has a lot to say. And a lot of it that it says, I agree with it. And it's not even that I agree with it. I can see in the Bible. You can tell the difference when something is just, you know, uh, kind of a metaphor or something like that, or when it's the truth. And, and for me, it's not that serious. Like, I don't worry about, is this really, really true or anything like that. It says something to me. And what it says to me, I can understand. And,
I can understand that. I mean, I still hold that there are definitely bits of wisdom in the Bible for sure, and enjoy the allegories. Yeah, I hear you. Some interpret the Bible. I don't know if you ever heard of Bill Donahue. He looks at the Bible a little different as it's more about the human psyche than any kind of literal interpretation.
Yeah, what I don't really understand is how can you take a book like that and then interpret it a billion different ways and then say it's not okay just to find your own path? I mean, clearly there's not
we
a
all
single
get it.
meaning.
Yeah.
So why do you even need it in the first place then?
You don't need it.
Okay.
I could go through life just fine with no Bible. But,
You don't need it, but people who want to be in control used it. That was the thing. That's what I say.
that's the danger of God, is that when you bring God into that issue, you can get someone to kill each other.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes dangerous. To have a very strong faith, an unwavering, unquestionable faith,
Mm-hmm.
is very dangerous, and it shouldn't be allowed.
No, it shouldn't be allowed. I mean, that sounds cold or something, but it's dangerous. And when someone believes in something that strongly, I don't trust them. And if I was in charge, I'd take them out of the equation. I don't like feeling threatened.
I mean, that's the general problem a lot of non-theists have with theists, is that there's people that think the world's going to end or they want the world to end and their hands on the button. Like George Bush, it's like just tell me when, God. Tell me when to hit the button. I'm waiting.
It's like that quote from Susan B. Anthony, I distrust people who know so well what God wants them to do because I notice it always coincides with their own desires.
Wow, she is smarter than I thought she was. I mean, not that I thought she was dumb, but
No, that's a great quote. I love that one.
It's a good quote.
There's been a lot of smart people, man.
We create God in our own image.
A lot of smart people. And those people who wrote the Bible were some of those smart people. It's like that quote there about believing in God and shit. That's truth right there. It's her just trying to say her opinion or something, but you can see the truth in that it's very fucking dangerous. And for me, the Bible is just all that kind of thing. I mean, all of it. And for me, it doesn't matter what the person who's writing it had in their mind. It doesn't matter. They could be they could totally just want to control everybody and kill people and stuff, but they saw it. And that's why they were so successful with controlling everybody, because they could lie while telling the truth. If you can do that, that is the highest power you can ever have over other people. You can tell them the truth about God and still lie to them and get them to do what you want, then that power of God is now your power. Because you speak for God in that person's eyes. If you can do that, you don't have to be a big, strong guy or anything. You'll get whatever you want.
Okay, so now you said it's dangerous and that you don't need it. So then why do you still use it?
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, you said you didn't need it. You could go on without it. And then you also said it's dangerous, so it's dangerous and you don't need it. So why do you still use it?
I mean, use it like in myself, because I'm trying to stop. Like, I don't want to believe in things.
Okay. My first suggestion would be to throw all the copies away that you have. Or maybe give them to someone else.
Oh, you mean the Bible?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you ask me the question again now that I know?
Oh, you said it's dangerous and that you don't need it. So then why don't you just get rid of it?
Well, I've always been interested in, not the Bible per se, but in magic, in religion, and, mysteries of that sort. And, it's my own will to power, my own thing. It's just something I'm very interested in, and because I want to know the truth, and just like everyone else, and and I see a lot of truth in it. So I wouldn't recommend that everyone reads it. I'd never recommend that someone doesn't read it. But for me personally, I take a lot from it. That's about it. I don't need it. I could take the same things, probably just the same amount from any other book, or write my own book or something like that. But I just haven't. I mean, I take it from everywhere. I think that's why sacred texts are sacred texts. Is just because you can kind of see, whether you're conscious of it or not, you can kind of see that it's just so jam packed with that truth. And that's the best drug there is. It's a kind of, that's why I do it. It's just a kind of addiction. Like it's a desire. And I'd say God is the biggest desire there is.
Yeah, and I opened the book. I don't see anything of that sort. But
You say
that's
I don't know about lightly
I
sprinkled.
don't think that you should see it.
that's fine. But I mean, back to the original question though. I mean, are you going to get rid of it then?
No, I don't see why I would.
So you're going to keep something that's dangerous and unnecessary.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a gun.
Could you do me? Well, I mean, a gun can be necessary in some cases. Well, then, can you do me a favor? Don't vote.
I mean, if you want to be rude and stuff like that, I don't understand.
Well, I'm not
why.
trying to be. I was trying to be serious.
I've been
Like,
nothing but,
you're keeping something that's dangerous and
No,
unnecessary.
I'm not stupid.
I think what he's saying is, like my personal opinion is I don't really care what somebody believes as long as they don't impose it on others, particularly through voting and law, where people make decisions and they vote for politicians based on religious beliefs. I mean, if people kept their faith or whatever their beliefs are themselves, I could care less. I've never argued with a deist, never argued with a pagan, never argued with a Wiccan. It only seems to be the evangelical monotheists that ever seem to want to cause fights and make other people's lives miserable in the process. Not all of them, of course. There's some good ones out there, but they seem to be ones that want to force other people to conform to their way of viewing the world and their idea of morality. And they use the law to do such. I think is kind of what he was getting at. But
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, I don't want that either. But I mean, hey, it's not a sound mind that wants to keep something dangerous and completely unnecessary by your own admission.
You're being hostile with me right now. I don't appreciate that.
I'm not being hostile at all. You said it was dangerous,
I'm not.
and then you said
I'm
it was
not gonna
unnecessary.
I'm not going to say anything more about that. But I will try to explain myself here.
Wait,
I don't vote to begin with. So you don't got anything to worry about for me. Even
that's
if I
fine, but
did,
it's
even
the
if I
basic.
did,
It's the basic,
if
though.
I did, can I just say something? Even if I did vote, I would never vote in favor of some evangelical or anything like that. You know, I'm not that kind of person. I thought that you probably saw that.
Well, no, it's not. It's not specifically about religion. If you thought something else was dangerous and unnecessary, but then you decided to keep it anyway, I would have asked you to do the exact same thing.
Well, I don't see how you're so much better than me.
Well, I don't keep things that are dangerous and unnecessary, so that's one way.
You don't.
No.
Yeah, nothing. Everything in your life is completely safe and necessary.
No, it can be dangerous and be necessary, and I'm okay with that. But if you think personally that something is dangerous and unnecessary, why would you keep it?
Because I think maybe because at the same time, Hylas gets something good out of it. So, you know.
Yeah.
But then
Why would I throw something away that's never hurt me?
So
The
then
only
it is
time
necessary.
I didn't say that. The only time the Bible has ever hurt me is from the hands of other people using it as an authority to give them self-authority when they don't deserve it. So people just trying to trick me and tell me to believe what they believe, and they're saying, look here in the Bible, it says it. And ever since I've looked at the Bible for myself, I can see clear as day that it never said none of those things they said it did. And they were all lying to me because somebody lied to them and somebody lied to that person, and they just feel safer in the world thinking that I've bought into this lie. And they think that it will control people, and they think that it will make sure that nobody ever kills nobody or does nothing bad. And that's why they try and convince all of us to believe in it, because they don't trust us.
I like what Wayne just wrote. He said one can be dangerously misinformed without having to be stupid. There's a lot of dangerous stuff that hasn't hurt us yet, and that could be politics. It doesn't necessarily have to be religion or anything else. I mean, it could be lifestyle choices, smoking, drinking, whatever. But I mean, it's just because somebody makes a poor choice doesn't mean they're stupid or anything. I know plenty of smart theists that are brilliant, But so I mean, don't take that as saying stupid because they that's not how I'm trying to mean it. I assume the rest of the people aren't meaning it that way either.
And just so everyone knows, I ain't no theist. That's just not how my mind works. I don't believe in silly things.
When you say the entire Bible is true, that's hard for me to wrap my mind around that, unless you're just playing definitional games.
I ain't playing no games, but I know how the game goes.
Well, I'm saying from a definitional standpoint, if you believe
I know.
It's true,
I know what you're saying. And I know how it can sound disagreeable. And believe me, I share the same perspective you have on someone saying the Bible is 100% true. But I'm not trying to give nobody a pass here to say something stupid like that. Well, the Bible says this, so I'm gonna stick by my guns here. I'll tell them the Bible's true, but you're telling lies. When this person says, well, we have the right to kill gays, or if you do this, you're going to hell, and shit like that. I'm gonna tell them straight up, you are not seeing it. And sure, that's my opinion, and they have the right to their opinion and their interpretation, but I guarantee you, well, the second their interpretation threatens me, they're fucking dead, man.
Okay, it's what I'm about to say is not based off that very last statement, but at the risk of becoming the bad guy, are you high?
No, I'm actually sick.
He is
Wow.
high. He's highless.
I wasn't talking about like how you sounded. It was you're keeping dangerous and unnecessary things, but you believe in God, but you're not a theist. And I was just wondering.
I mean, I do a bit of dope, sure, but I mean, I
Well, no,
don't feel
I'm
like
not.
I'm
Like I don't.
intoxicated.
That's what I was concerned about at this moment.
No, I mean, I'm in a pretty sober state of mind right now. I don't usually get a chance to talk about shit like this, so it doesn't really always come out right. You know, I don't have that much practice because before I started coming to these rooms here with y'all, I didn't have nobody to talk to.
That's fair. I mean, I can understand that.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard to articulate if you don't do it on a regular basis.
So I want to say probably a better choice of words were I'm just guessing, but maybe not. I'm not no theist. Maybe you should have said I'm not a crazy person.
I mean, I am a fucking crazy person, just as much as everyone else. I'm not like medically diagnosed as a crazy person or nothing. I'm not gonna tell you I'm completely sane.
No, I meant in regards to like other theists. I think that's what maybe you were meaning.
Any theist is, in my opinion, wrong.
Okay, so you're wrong.
I'm not a theist.
But you believe in a God.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay. So you believe that the Bible is 100% correct, but there is no God.
I'll say it this way. I have an interpretation of the Bible that's personal to me. I think that interpretation is good and valid, and I think it matches up with to me what the Bible says, and I think that it's logical and shit like that. You know that's as you know, as crystal as I can put it. But I don't believe in God. I don't believe in none of that shit. I'm not a little kid no more, so I can't afford to believe that stuff. It's all nice ideas and shit, and whatever, but it's not the truth, so I don't want it.
Okay, so I mean, then how do you interpret the word or name God in the book? I think it's pretty uninterpretable other than one way.
Yeah, the Bible talks about God, and it says it's all about God, of course, but for me, it's a difference. Because for me, that God that it's talking about is the same thing that Einstein and Darwin and everyone else was talking about when they denied God, or when they gave us reasons to deny God, or something like that. You know, it's the same thing Dawkins talks about with his denial of God and everything like that. I don't see the difference between there not being a God and there being a God. It's just, for me, it's just two takes on how things are, two different viewpoints. I'm not concerned with which viewpoint to hold, because truth encompasses both views. Now that's a fact. That truth has room for both of those lies. That there is a God and there's not a God. Neither one is the truth, because they're just statements. They're just words. They don't mean nothing. And the whole idea of God, it doesn't mean shit. That's why, I mean, how do you believe in it? Because how do you even know what you're talking about? How can you believe in God when the whole idea is just nonsense? So, I value the Bible, you know. I don't. When I say I think it's 100% true, it means I don't think there's any bullshit in it. That's about it. I think it was coming from a real place, and it's that's about it. I'm not literally saying that everything in there like happened or anything like that, or it should be anything on your mind, because I guarantee you everything I say isn't always going to accord with the Bible. That's just not even anything I would even hope for, because it's not possible anyway. And I'm a little bit more outside of the box than that. It's just for me personally, it's more mature for me to accept the Bible and accept its truth than to keep on denying it like I have been my whole life. So because of the fear that I have of it, for me, it gives me less fear to deny the Bible than to accept it, because I'm scared shitless of going to hell, and I was raised that way. So I'm sure that there's some people in here who can relate to that. That fear of what your parents told you and
How
how
do you
they.
know the hell? How do you know that hell exists, Hylas?
No, I'm not saying that hell exists. I'm saying I'm scared of it.
Well, how could you be scared of something that doesn't exist?
I ain't saying it doesn't exist. I can't know that. That's outside of my reach. So I can't. That's how they get you. Like, that's the whole basis of it. They tell you, well, you don't know it's not true.
How is it not out of your how is it not out of your reach?
I don't know, man. I never died. How the fuck am I supposed to know?
Well,
Okay,
let's just use some reason. I mean, do you think somebody should suffer infinitely for finite crimes?
Shit, man. At the end of the day, God could be a big dick.
I don't want to interrupt the conversation, but I've had someone whispering at me that it's time to leave for like the last 7 minutes.
So you're saying you listen to a higher power? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, sure. It's at least semi in control of this situation. But I want to say one thing: if all it takes for you is for someone to tell you something could be real, let me tell you that hell is a wonderful place full of sunflowers and happiness, and no one ever gets hurt there ever. And then now you should be okay.
Nice.
There you go.
I mean, the whole thing I found funny about it is, if the devil opposes God and you oppose God by being a bad person, you go to hell. Shouldn't the devil reward you? Why would it be fire and brimstone? It should be pleasure, paradise, and playmates running around. The fact that they say it's a place of punishment for disobeying God when you're siding with a person that opposes God just seems to be like a complete contradiction.
The devil's got no
The
free
devil
will
doesn't.
over how to run hell.
The devil will never reward you. All he does is take, and he uses you to get back at God. He's never going to reward you for it. The devil does not love you.
You think the devil's an entity?
I'm just talking about in the language of that whole mythology. If we're going to take it seriously now,
No, I'm trying to get what you
that's
believe.
what it is.
I'm trying to get what you believe.
What I believe is completely fucking. I'm not going to say that.
Oh.
I do not believe in no devil, no.
Oh, okay. And I mean, no, because you're talking everything. The Bible's true, and you just the way you're talking, it sounds like you're believing this stuff is literal. So
I know.
I guess we're having a little trouble here.
I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't get aggravated. It's not your fault. I am being, I guess, rather ambiguous, but I will try to clarify it. I will do my best.
I believe you're God having a highless experience. That's how I see it.
You believe in what?
I believe you're God having a highless experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're God having a new experience.
There you go.
You know, if Jesus was a real person, that's all he figured out. You know, Alan Watts, you know, he's a big talker. He said that, you know, if Jesus had been born in India, nobody would have thought he was weird.
Mm-hmm.
He would have just been saying, "Well, yeah, you're God, dude. You know, welcome to the party."
That's right. You have
But they
right.
killed him for it. They killed him for it over there because nobody was allowed to say it.
That's right. Over there, you say I am God, then congratulations, you arrived.
So yeah, I mean, if Jesus was a real person, that's all it was. Is that he just kind of saw it. And he didn't do nothing that nobody else could do. He wasn't a special person, you know. But he was a child of God, and he saw it.
Yep, he could have been a real person, had great teachings, you know, got this philosophy from India and all that, and then they just popped the miracles on afterwards, embellished the story.
That's another thing. I don't see any evidence that he got it from India. It'd just be really easy to believe because of how good it accords. He said the exact same thing. And it could be a synthesis, you know. Jesus could just be a mythological figure, completely. Because what evidence do we have that he wasn't? Maybe Jesus, maybe Christianity is a synthesis of Judaism with that, you know, more Oriental kind of lines of traditions. You know? Maybe Jesus was the vessel as an image, as an idea. Maybe he brought together those two places in the world. Maybe that's why that idea is just so powerful.
Adam, you there? You've been quiet.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I think I get what Hylas is saying. I think I posted in the text earlier about this. The same idea of the Boy Who Cried Wolf story or the Emperor's New Clothes. Like, I think those are very true stories, but I don't believe that those were actual people. Like, I don't believe that those events actually happened. But I feel like those are the most truthful, meaningful stories ever written. You know, like it's extremely meaningful.
No, I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
I believe in it very
In fact,
strong.
I like the way you put that, actually.
I feel like we can learn a lot about humans and about human psychology in society through those stories.
Definitely.
You know, that's all it is. When you read the Bible, you got to ask yourself. I mean, if you're going to see the truth in it, you can't go in it with what people have told you. Because what people have told you is just their little limited understanding that was told to them. And so they have no authority whatsoever to tell you what it means. So when you read the Bible, you can't go in there thinking that this Bible supports this group of people over here. Because I'll tell you ahead of time, it doesn't. It doesn't support none of these motherfuckers who call themselves Christian and all that. If you are a true Christian in the full sense of that word, you ain't going to be going to church. You ain't going to be calling yourself a Christian or any of that thing. I mean, there are exceptions, but most of the time you can follow that as a guide to who is actually a Christian and who has actually understood that book. Most of them will be probably scientists who have actually been in the field and done their real study and tried their best to get to the root of the governing principles of the universe. those are the ones who are gonna see the Bible in a lot clearer of a light than most other people. So you want to talk about the Bible, you should always talk to a scientist who is in physics or genetics or something like that, and they'll give you some interesting insights on it. Mine, I had a novel thought these past few days of the Garden of Eden, of innocence lost, and how that applies to my life, and how it applies to everyone's life, and just how true it is that there's a reason that they eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge about good and evil. And knowledge is such a huge thing in the Bible, because it's like when Jesus says you got to look through the eyes of an infant. If you don't do that, you'll never have the kingdom of heaven. And if you eat this fruit, you will surely die, and everything like that. Did they really die? No, but they knew they would. That was that knowledge. They knew. Never before, but when they did that, they knew that one day they would die. And that's the important thing. That's why he kicked them out. You know why? Because when they knew they were going to die, there was another tree in the Garden of Eden. It was called the tree of the fruit of life or whatever. And that tree, if you ate that fruit, you would never, never die. Ever. And imagine Adam and Eve eating that fruit of the tree of life. They would have been gods. They would have never died. They would have had the knowledge of good and evil, and they would have lived forever. That God could not let them have that power, because they would have destroyed everything. Everything. They could no longer be trusted because they knew too much. They weren't innocent anymore. They couldn't have eternal life. It's just God does not take those chances. I mean, we all lie. Every second of every day. Everything you say is a lie to protect yourself, even if you tell the truth. You're doing it for a reason. You're doing it to give yourself more strength, or it's to not give up strength, or because knowledge is power. That's one of the old maxims, that those are the truest things there. Knowledge is power, and everything that comes with it. So if you're a power-seeking person, then that's what you're going to want. And the more knowledge you have, the more power you want. It's never enough. So, that's why it's so dangerous. But, that's where lying comes from, is withholding information. Because you keep that power for yourself. When they knew that they were naked, and they hid from God, that was as big of a red flag. God knew then, without being told, that they had eaten that fruit. So if he had any doubts before then, they were cleared up right then, because when they knew they were naked, and they knew it was quote unquote wrong, because that's the Hebrew system. You don't walk around naked, because in the Hebrew mindset it symbolizes power. But I don't want to go off on too long of a tangent here, so I'll just say, that's it. Genesis. Those stories in the very, very beginning there are pretty much the origin of lies. That's why Satan is called the father of lies. That's literal. It ain't no just poetic term that's just evil sounding. He is the father of lies, because he gave them the knowledge. It's true. Satan didn't lie in that story. He told them how it was. But in so doing, he took away their innocence. And he let them make their own lies after that. He didn't have to tell them a lie. He knew they would do it on their own.
Yeah, it's interesting perspective that um, on after Adam and Eve eating from the tree and not being able to eat from the tree of life. To think of it that way, yeah, having that knowledge of good and evil and being very destructive and that ability to do that and having that temptation and then on an eternal and then if you ate the tree of life and then have that on eternal, yeah, that would be I would see that, yeah, that would have to be stopped. I hear you. The serpent, we don't know if it's
He
exactly
admitted plenty.
the serpent. I don't know. It doesn't say in the story that it's Satan. I mean, it's always implied that the serpent is Satan.
That was a later church teaching, I think.
Yeah, the serpent's pretty much the root of the whole concept of Satan. Because
Could the serpent just be God testing his own creation?
it could be a lot of things.
Just using the
At
serpent?
a point, you do have to take the story on its own merit. There's a point where you got to see those creation stories as separate. Just because they're part of the Bible doesn't mean when they were written, these people had the whole Bible in mind. They probably didn't, have any concept that there would ever be this idea of Satan like we have it now. So no, it was just the serpent and everything like that. But we've come to tie those two together. Uh, and in my view, the serpent was Satan, but not necessarily. It's all a matter of perspective. In some senses, it is meaningful to look at it and say it is Satan. But from a more historical take, no, you can't do that because it wasn't necessarily. It was just a serpent. Or else, if they had that all in mind, one could ask why they didn't just call him Satan. They would have just said Satan appeared in the form of a serpent because that's what they always say. He's just appearing in form. No, they said the fucking serpent. That's what they said. They left it at that. It was the serpent, and that's as far as we can really go with what we actually know about it. It's interesting you brought up Sumerian mythology. There is a certain mythos that is long, 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 long dead, but we have enough about it. I forget. I think it's Akkadian. No, it's not Akkadian. It's
Zoroastrian?
no, not. I mean, where Yahweh comes from. Yahweh was originally.
Canaanites?
Do what?
The Canaanites?
Canaanites, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, apparently there was a god in the Canaanite pantheon called Yahweh. I'm not sure about his qualities and characteristics, but I do know that the name was there.
It was a merger of him and El from into one. What Adam said in the chat one day.
An interesting take is the guy who made Zeitgeist. You remember when he said that Israel is Isis, Ra, and El put together in one? That makes a lot of fucking sense, considering the whole mythos of that Jewish tradition. Um, it makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, they'll tell you out the bat there's only one God, and it's like they say there's only one God, and Muhammad is his prophet, and that is absolutely fucking true. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in, or if you believe in any religion at all, or whatever. There is only one, and if that's true, which it is, then whatever name you use for it, whatever way you approach it, it doesn't matter. It's the same exact thing. So whether you're an atheist or whether you're a Wiccan or anything like that, um, God is still just God. And Gita, Tao Te Ching, Torah, uh, the Gospel, it's all, they're different books, very different people wrote them, with very different languages and very different means of communication, very different imagery, and just completely different takes on it altogether. But if they're talking about God, there's only one. And if it's true, if they say anything true about God, then it doesn't take away from that truth because of what they call themselves, or the consequences of their telling it, or anything at all. They're still talking about God, and it's and that's all that we should be concerned about. I would say that Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and all those big atheist names, I'd say they talk just as much about God as anyone else, and they believe just as much as anyone else. They just don't call it God, and that's their strength. They don't feel a need to do that. They see it as the universe, or they see it as just life, or mathematics, or anything like that. But that's just another name. There's only one God. You guys are still here, right?
I'm still here. I was listening to you, man.
Just listen.
Okay. I just didn't know if I disconnected.
No, not at all.
But I understand totally that you got to keep your guard up and shit like that. So I know where all those questions were coming from. So I'm never gonna tell you once to trust me. Um, that'd be fucking stupid. Don't ever do that. But I will tell you that I do understand, and I do care. You know, 'cause that's what the Bible says. Love your neighbor as yourself. And you guys are damn sure my fucking neighbors. And if I'm God just living my life and you're God just living your life, then if I have information to share, then it's my responsibility to share that information, because uh, this life is a trap, and it's very painful at that. And if I can do anything at all to decrease your pain, then it's not about ethics or right and wrong. I'm just gonna do it because I don't want you to be in pain.
What if your neighbor's a total asshole?
Well, if he's an asshole, he has a reason to be. Any asshole, anyone you call an asshole who seems just like a piece of shit, they're in a lot of pain. And that's why when they killed Jesus, they crucified him. And he said, "Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do." It's not because Jesus was such a nice guy or anything like that. He just saw it. He understood that they didn't know what they were doing. They had never been crucified. They didn't understand what they were doing to him. Um, it was just, they had their reasons. They were political reasons. They just couldn't have someone going around there saying they were God, because everything would, everyone would start saying they were God, and it would change the whole world. They tried to stop it. And yeah, that's totally true, man. Without assholes in the world, everyone would be full of shit. Uh, that's also just the way it is. And that's the way the Bible is true. Is in that way that statement there is true. Without assholes in the world, everyone would be full of shit. It's things like that that for me, that's what the Bible says all the way through. It's just things like that. Nothing about God loves you and everything. I mean, sure, but it for me it doesn't come off that way. It's stuff like that, just saying, wise up, man. It says, when I was a child, I thought like a child, and when I grew up, I put aside childish things. And that's all I'm trying to do is just give up on those childish things, because that's all God is. It's just a little childish fantasy that your parents told you, and that's why it's such a stupid idea, because when you talk about God, that's all people will ever pursue is God. You could say a million true things and then tell them that there's this God and you know who it is and you're its spokesman and shit like that. All those true things that you said immediately get canceled out, and they will have no consequence whatsoever on anything they do. All they're going to want to come at you for is that knowledge of God that you claim to have. Because they see if you could say all those true things that they know, then they think that last thing you said there, the 1 out of 100, 99 were true, but you told that one lie, and they want you to verify that one lie for them, and prove it to them. And you can't do it, and you know you can't do it, so that's how you're lying, and that's how you get people to brainwashed. And that's how that dude got everyone to drink that poison and go up to the UFO and shit like that. I'm sure you all heard about that, Apple White or whatever. That's how he did it, man. And just piqued people's curiosity enough, and they couldn't disprove it, and they just fucking killed themselves because they were scared that if they didn't do it, they would miss out. And that's why anyone can understand those reasons. It looks really crazy to us, but shit, I would kill myself if I was gonna go to some UFO and live in heaven forever. I'd do that in a second, man. And they just believed it enough because they didn't put aside those childish things. And when you can see that people are like that, you ever hear of 5%er? There's 5% of people. It's like a system of Islam, kind of based on Brotherhood of Islam in America. The black Muslims. 5% of people. That's why we call it 5%er. If you're a 5%er, you're part of that 5% of people who really gives a fuck. And who actually does see that, you are your brother's keeper, and it is your responsibility to save the world, and shit like that. It is. There's 5% is the people who see that, and I'd say 5% is about right. That's a very hopeful number, the 5%, because that's a lot of people there. It just seems that way. A lot of people see it throughout history. Not everyone is as dumb as it seems. A lot of people see through the game. And it's just a lot of people don't get recognition for it because a lot of people ain't following them around worshiping at their feet. So you don't hear about it, but a lot of people see it. And when you see it, you ain't out to get no recognition for it. So, anyway. And then there's 10% of people, and that's the issue. 10% of people see it too, but they don't love. They want to use it, like, to win the game. They're still stuck in samsara, which is the chain of karma, of birth and death. And when you see the truth, and you are out for your own selfish motivation still,
then you are part of that 10%. That's what evil is. Those are the only evil people there are, is those 10%. And sadly, they outnumber us doubly. But, that's the nature of the game. It's not supposed to look like God wins in the end, but he does. Anyway, there are people like that who just want to hurt you. And it's not because they just want to hurt you. It's because by hurting you, they get something. And everyone's out for themselves at the end of the day. What makes the 5% different is they will light your cigarette before they light their own. That's what a bodhisattva is. It's someone who will help you before they help themselves. The bodhisattva renounces enlightenment. The bodhisattva says that he will never be enlightened, but he can help you get there. And it's just the nature of being a good person. Anyone can be a Buddha and just sit in their little hut and live their life. It takes guts to help people, and it takes a dedication. It takes emotion. It takes sacrifice, because that's what love is. When you love your neighbor as yourself, you will do anything for them. Anything. You'll take any pain. You'll take any. You'll be put to death in a second for it. Jesus wasn't cared about that. What hurt Jesus is that they were doing it to him. He wasn't having no self-pity. I mean, he had his moment of doubt and pain, but all in all, for the most part, he understood and he accepted it, because he knew by his example he would help people. Shit like that. It's just a beautiful story. Having that happen, like Socrates. Would Socrates be such a powerful figure if he wasn't put to death? You gotta ask those questions. So you can see the patterns, and Jesus knew what he was getting himself into. So what he was sad about was that they did it to him, meaning that they were in such pain that they would kill him, an innocent person, to preserve their own precarious position of power. And them killing him didn't take away any of their pain, and he knew that. That's how he knew. He said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Because if they were in the know, they wouldn't have done it. And Jesus truly pitied them for that. He wanted to save everybody. When you see it, you want to save everybody. But at the end of the day, you can't save anybody. Each person has to make their own decision. And nobody can save you. And so, if you can do it, then there's hope, because they can do it too.
And I like to be more optimistic. There's more than 5% of people in the world want to actually help somebody.
There's 85% of people who are just good average people who are just they want to know the meaning of life and everything like that. You got people who want to know the meaning of life, and there's people who, in a sense, do know the meaning of life. They know that it's not there, and they know that it is what they make it. And so that 10% of people who are what we call evil, they're not evil. They're not no different from me or you. They put themselves first. And that's a function of life. There's nothing wrong with that. If they truly put themselves first and they care more about themselves, consciously, they make the decision to see that you and I are the same exact being. If we want to call it God, we can do that. Some people don't like that word. And I see the word as very misleading. And I don't believe that we should call ourselves God. But we can do that. I'm God, you're God, and so is those 10%ers, and so is those 5%ers, and so is the 85%. We're all God. We're all enlightened. We all know what's going on. But it's the desire that causes the 85% not to see it, because we don't want to see it. We want to believe in stuff, you know. And if that's what gives someone's life meaning, that's fine. Nobody should be in the know. I mean, you can't ever truly be in the know anyway. It's not like when you become enlightened, you suddenly know things, because you don't. You just kind of give up on that, and you're happier for it. But that 10%, they're not evil. They just are realistic, and they're pragmatic. They care about their survival more than someone else's, and so they will hurt someone else to preserve their own pleasure. And so they're still caught up in samsara. They're just not totally liberated. That's why they're dangerous. That's why Adam and Eve were dangerous. It's not that they were bad people. It's that they were afraid. When God saw that they were afraid of him seeing that they were nude, he knew with what intensity they would fear death and what they would do to avoid death. Because when you die, you're gone. That was taken for granted in that story. There wasn't no heaven or nothing like that. It was just not a concept for that person coming up with that story. They took it for granted that when you die, you're gone. And that's what people are afraid of. That's the most feared thing that people really have, is that when you die, that's it, buddy. You ain't here no more. You ain't never gonna come back. So that's just another thing that people see as depressing and all that. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, it's just that they're dangerous. There's 5% of people who really care. 5% of people who will put you first. 5% of people who will die for you, who will light your cigarette before they light their own. You know, that's what the 5%er is. It's not that nobody else cares or nobody else is good or nobody else is God in the flesh. 5% is about being fully realized God in the flesh, and with everything that comes with that, and everything that that means. Because if you follow that to this logical conclusion, you can't never hurt nobody else again. You won't be able to bring yourself to do it. It's not a question of right and wrong. It's not like you need some code to tell you not to do it. It's not that you're just afraid of what will happen. You just can't do it. You can't hurt nobody again, because you're just hurting yourself in every sense of that word. And it's worse, because that person isn't you, and they can't take that pain. You know? So it's worse to, if you can hurt anyone, then they don't deserve it. Because being hurt is a function of just weakness. And if they're weak enough for you to be able to hurt them, then they're to be pitied and protected, and because they're just a fragile little flower, man. And they need someone to look out for them. That's what being a bodhisattva is all about. It's about being a big brother or a big sister, you know, playing father and mother to the world, because it's your responsibility, and you can only see that when you see it. There's no sense in trying to live your life that way if you don't see it, or hoping you will see it or anything like that, because that's not a good idea, because that's not how it works. If you don't see it now, then there's no sense in taking any steps. But one day you might see it, and when you see it, you're going to see that you won't ever be able to bring yourself to hurt nobody, because you're human, because you're not God, because you can't be indifferent, because you care. And that's what it is to be human. You care, and you love, and stuff like that. But you only care about yourself, and you only love yourself, and that's not pessimistic. So if you can't extend that identity to everything else, then you'll never be able to care about nothing else. You know, you'll never be able to love someone if you see them as anything but you. It's not possible. You know, and we face that dilemma our whole life. You know, why don't I love my mother? Why don't I love God? Or why can't I just do that? Because you can't just decide to do that. It's not something you're capable of. You're not built that way. And there's no sense in saying, oh, I'm just a dirty little sinner. Because, you know, you are what you are, and you got to rest upon that. You can't change what you are just by putting yourself on a guilt trip. That's not how it works either, you know. So, but when you do see it, you will love. You know, that's what Jesus was talking about. Uh, you know, love your neighbor as yourself. That's a divine commandment. It comes straight from the mouth of God. You know, Jesus in that sense was God telling us that. Because truth and God and love are all synonymous. Anytime someone tells the truth, that's God right there. And you don't need to look anywhere else for him because that's where he is. Anytime love is there, real love, and that's something that apparently only 5% have. You know, of course, not. Don't take that literally. I'm not saying that. It could be more or less than 5%, or it could change. It could get better over time. But you know, as it stands, if we take that image seriously, then it's just 5% of people who actually love. And how do they do that? Well, they love themselves. They just extend their personal boundaries to you. You know, they see that you are part of them. So they love you as themselves. It's not that they're doing you a favor. You know, they're literally responsible in every sense. You know, literally. And that's why they want to help people because uh, they're worried about it. You know, I'd be worried too if I believed in reincarnation and if I believed that I would be you, or like, you know, that your life is my life, and not as no metaphor or nothing like that, but your life is my life. That one day or in the past or right now or something like that, I'm you living your life, feeling trapped as you, just like I feel trapped as me. And then not only do I understand, but I care so much that because I see what I feel that I should see, and I feel that I see what I feel other people should see, I really want them to fucking see it. And that's why you know, I can understand the Bodhisattva vow because, you know, I feel like they would feel something like I do. That if you're me, then it's my job to make you feel better. It's my job to make your life better. So, you know, just because when I go through your life, or right now when I am, or when I did in a previous incarnation, or something like that, you know, we're not going to take that literally either, but that's how the mythology goes. If all that is true, then it's my job to look out for you. Because if I see it, that's fine. I could die now, and I'll be fine. You know, I could die now. So, you know, Jesus, he was perfectly fine with dying. He just hoped that through his dying, that somebody else would see it too. Because if you can help one person, that's enough. It's more than enough. You did something amazing there. If you helped, in any sense of that word, helped, big or small, if you helped some person get it too, then you did everything that you could ever want to do. Yeah, but um, just don't hang on to any of it, because that's useless. If I said anything to you that rings true, um, if you want my advice, forget about it. Because what you'll do is you'll hold on to that statement. And that statement can't be the feeling you get when something rings true to you. So when you hold on to a statement like that, any statement, it just becomes something you chase to try and make the past live on, but the past is gone. You know, uh, there ain't no statement that will help you through your dark times. There's nothing that ever makes pain go away. So just don't even try. It's just not gonna happen. Buddha said life is suffering, and that's one of the four noble truths of Buddhism. Life is suffering. Doesn't matter what you do. Um, and there's no such thing as a little bit of suffering or less suffering. There's either suffering or there's nirvana. Those are the only two options. So that's all you can choose from. You can either suffer or you can have nirvana. And it's most people choose suffering, and we do. We choose it because if anything I say rings true to you, or if anything anyone says rings true to you, it's already there. All I'm trying to do is, I'm gonna put all the cards on the table. All I'm trying to do is convince you to stop. Um, and I'm working on it too. Uh, that's my only motivation here is to convince you to stop hurting yourself. What I'll do is I'll tell you what I think you need to hear for you to stop hurting yourself. So nothing I'm saying right now is true or should be believed or anything like that. I play it as it goes. I play it by ear, and if I can get through to someone, that'll be just fucking perfect. But um, I can't stop myself either way, because I see it and I care, and your pain hurts me. So it is still a selfish action. Uh, to be selfless is the most selfish action. To care about someone else because um, that becomes a very driving force. It's not that you want to be a savior or anything like that. That's just an ego trip. Being a savior so you can go around saying to yourself that you saved someone. That's why, when this person goes to heaven and they say, but well, I've done great works in your name. I've saved souls. I've done this and done that for you. And Jesus says, well, I never knew you. And that's how it is, man. You can't buy your way into heaven. And I definitely don't intend on trying. So I do this for me. And at the end of the day, I'll never care about anything like I care about myself. I'll never put anyone else first, and it's just not gonna happen. But when I truly see that you're me, uh, I'll put you up there with me. I can promise that. I'll never put you first, but I won't put myself before you. If you want my advice, just don't get caught up in statements like, there is a God, or there's not a God, or this is what God wants, or anything like that. Anybody who tells you that they know those things is lying, just lying, lying, lying. And you can bet on that, because, it's just people trying to tell you to think what they want you to think. And they see some kind of, for some reason or other, they see some kind of motivation in it. And if you were to see their reasoning behind it, you would understand all too well what they were trying to do to you. They're trying to completely rape you mentally and take away all your dignity and honor, but get you to believe what they want you to believe, because they don't believe it. Those preachers up there, it's like that dude who was talking about drugs are bad and shit. And what do? They catch him in a hotel with a underage underage boy, fucking that kid and doing meth. So, and how many people did that person lie to? You know, he lied to thousands and thousands of people, and got them to think what he wanted them to think. And what he wanted them to think was that he was a holy man, and that if they went to see him, that they could help him. I mean, that if they went to see him, that he could help them. That was their hope. You know, that they could trust this guy, and that he would help them to understand. You know, understand God or anything like that. But you know, he couldn't do it. And even if he wanted to, he could have never done it. And I guarantee you he didn't want to. He was one of those 10% who understood how the game goes and took advantage of people for it. And I'm glad he got fucking caught and exposed. Yeah, I don't mean to, kill the mood or anything. I mean, we can shoot the shit for sure.
No, not at all, man. Not to think about.
Cause I'm sure you see, I don't have any kind of presumptions that I'm some kind of holy person, or that I'm enlightened, or that I speak for God, or anything like that. Cause I know myself, and I know that I ain't nobody fucking special. You know, so and that ain't me being fucking humble either. I just know I ain't nobody special. I have no right to tell people what to think, ever. And all I'm trying to do is kind of make myself feel better by talking to you, and it feels good because I think that you guys understand what I'm saying, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel gratified. It makes me feel like I did something with my time, and that's why I'm doing it. The reason it makes me feel good is just because I care, and just I care about you, just like I care about every single other person and every life and everything like that. It's because you're me, and I don't always see it, but I trust it, and whenever I want to, I can follow the logic, and I can see that it's true, that you're me and I'm you, and everything like that. And if that's true, then it's kind of my job. So it is kind of a chore, but it's also meaningful work for me, and that's where you should work, right? Where you find meaning in it. So
Yes, if you see, everybody is one, like you're saying. I'm you, you're me. If we truly see, everybody is one, then we're gonna take care of that one, right? You're gonna take care of your own body.
yes,
I hear you.
that's exactly it. That's where they go wrong, telling each other to love each other. They can't do that. It's just not possible. You can't love. You shouldn't be made to feel bad about it. It's how you're made. You'd have to be a fucking fool to love and trust and everything like that. You can't do it because people are dangerous. They'll fuck you over. And the reason they'll fuck you over is because they see you as something separate. So that's the issue. They wouldn't fuck you over if they understood that you were them. So until there's a real change in understanding, the outside circumstances will always be the same. Until we can trust and can love, we will never be able to do it. That's just a tautology. So, nobody's bad for who they are, what they can and can't do. That doesn't make them bad. There's just people who are we just all have different levels of not even understanding, but how far we will go with being honest with ourselves. It's how far you will go to give up on desire, Whether it's desire for anything, we all have a goal we have in mind. And it's only when you give up on that personal goal that you can really love. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get your goal. Uh, it doesn't mean anything like that. But the reason that we put our goals ahead of other people is because we put ourselves ahead of other people. And the reason we do that is just because that's how nature makes us. It's how evolution works. If we didn't do that, life wouldn't last very long. So it's necessary. All of it is necessary. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But you can't see that if you're trapped in it. It all looks ugly and painful and hard. And it's just a matter of perspective. None of it goes away when you see it. The only thing that goes away is the pain.
It's always trying to find that balance sometimes, Eyeless is like a delicate balance, there's, caring yourself, but not too selfish. Because, I mean, like you said, the human nature is to be self-preserving, to look out after yourself, number one. I guess the obsession with that is the extreme. But, about the balance where if you're caring for someone else too much, where it can harm yourself. You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, it's perfectly. That's just something everyone has to face, and that's what makes life so painful. For a human, I mean, and life isn't any more painful for anything than it is for humans. Really, nothing's ever felt pain like a human being does. Um, every other thing lives in basically bliss. Uh, we frame it all as if it's a big competition and everything's just suffering all the time, but really, the animals and stuff just mainly play. Like that's usually just what they do. They just kind of fuck around. And you can see it in your pets, or you can go out in the wild and look at it. They just they do what they got to do to survive, or they don't. And I mean, if they don't do what they need to do to survive, they don't survive. And shit just kind of takes care of itself. So, um, I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of that. But what I'm saying is, life has to create these mechanisms to ensure its own survival, because it's a very serious thing. Because if life wasn't a cold-hearted bitch, it would die off. Life has to put itself first, and I mean life is in the totality of life. And we know that that's never died because it's a smart motherfucker. Um, and, uh, and it encompasses all of us. So all of our struggles against each other, all the natural selection, everything like that, it's all just tests. You ever heard anyone say it's just all a big test?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. It is a test in the sense of a scientific test. It's all just a test to see what works, and it balances itself out on its own. Because if something doesn't work, it doesn't procreate. So it's fucking genius, really. And we don't need a god to come in and create all of it, because God is that process of creation itself, of genetics. God is most of the time, the strongest symbolism you can make for God isn't the impersonal, beyond abstract. Um, it's just life. God is, because you gotta ask, why does God take everything so fucking seriously? Why does God care what we do? Well, because he's all wrapped up in it. Because what we do, and at this point, it's better to say she. That means more to us, especially as Westerners. So at this point, God is a she, and she gives a fuck because if we die, she dies. It's like the cells in your body. You got to look out for them because if you don't, then they're taking you with them when they go because you need them. And life needs the little things to keep itself going and keep itself growing.
That's why I think what we perceive as natural disasters or acts of God, and I mean, yeah, in a way, it is just that. It's the earth, it's nature balancing itself out. These things need to happen, especially when man is trying to dominate nature and you know put its force against Earth. It's gonna correct itself.
Oh yeah, I mean, nature will fight back, and that nature doesn't have to go very far because it's you. That nature will completely fuck you up. I mean, like for real, nature will throw you to the fucking wolves because it's been through it, and ain't none of us special. We're all expendable, and that's just how it is. And she ain't gonna lie to herself about it. She doesn't have to.
You ain't
But
prejudiced.
no, not at all.
And with that, I'm just gonna stop we're gonna continue off air. We've been live. I forgot, so I'm just gonna stop it at that. I think that's